So, Summit Road Protection Authority is Kia. Yep, good to see you again, mate.
Good afternoon. It's good to be back again after only a short break. I'm obviously the chair of the Summit Road Protection Authority, and I'm joined by Kathy Lumweb.
Yep, I was the deputy chair.
And board member from Littleton.
And community board member from Littleton.
We're just, I guess, here to talk through a couple of things. First of all, many of you will probably be unaware of the exciting world of the Summit Road Protection Authority, apart from Councillor Scandrett, who was a previous chair. Does this move it forward? Can I have the next slide, please? Brilliant. So the Summit Road Protection Authority is a joint committee of the Christchurch City Council and Selwyn District Council, and it is advised by the Advisory Committee, which comprises representatives of the Council, landowners, ECAN, Summit Road Society, the Minister, Te Hapu o Ngāti Whiki, and a Council open space expert. The Summit Road Authority has a role in protecting the Summit Road and its amenity values, but also a broader, advocacy for the value of the Port Hills as part of our city. Back in 2018, the council resolved to move ahead with a Port Hills management plan. And the idea was that this would be an opportunity to, following on from decisions not to go ahead with prohibited times on the use of the Summit Road at night, this would be an opportunity to take a more holistic view of addressing some of the challenges and positive outcomes that the Summit Road and other affected roads might have. So, Kathy, do you want to talk a wee bit about the antisocial road user issue?
Yep. In the picture, of course, you can see lots of tire marks and everything. And what we think that antisocial road users are not just in the Port Hills, but all around the Banks Peninsula as well. And pretty strong evidence of that. But if we can do something about it, and it has been happening for such a long time, it would be good to address.
So obviously there's some of these, this is some of the negative issues that we're seeing up on the Summit Road. There's also, a really positive story about the fact that it's a heritage road for a park. And that's part of the really positive side of this conversation, which is that it's a unique asset for Christchurch and Canterbury. And going back to the kind of visionary Harry L days and some of this sort of, kaitiakitanga that we can exercise, there's some really great opportunities. So one of the things is these days, the bulk of the road runs through reserve lands. There's a huge amount of regeneration. There's a huge amount of ecological values that we're now really recognising as part of the Summit Road and alongside the historical values. And there's also some challenges to do with the particularly runoff heading down into the Pawaho. And we're starting now, to see this as an integrated landscape that goes from the hills through the river to the estuary to the sea. There's some technical challenges about the way that the resource management system interacts with the Summit Road Protection Act, which we'll probably come back and talk to you about during the long-term plan about how we can address some of that, but we won't go into that today. And there's obviously, since the fire, people have become more aware of the resilience needs up on those hills and what we can do to plan better, particularly with changing climate, to build in resilience. So in terms of what we're asking for this annual plan cycle, what we're asking is that Council commits resourcing in this annual plan to scope the work needed to develop a management plan for the Port Hills, including the Summit Road. So we need to kind of figure out what would be the scale of this work, who are the partners, and what's it going to cost. That means that when we have another conversation at the long-term plan, we know what the facts are and how much this is likely to cost. And the other thing is obviously the authority is reliant on council staff to perform its roles. Council staff do a huge amount of work supporting the authority, and just to recognise that that's something that is really appreciated by the authority. Thank you.
Well, you timed that pretty good. You've been practicing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing that to our attention.